Good evening, everyone. I want to welcome you to our second Zoom meeting. This is our first educational meeting. Hopefully, we will do another one and not too many of these because I like seeing your face in person and talk to you. So I want to welcome you. And this evening, we're going to talk about what this meeting is about, is the fulfillment of our goals. And those are the goals, what the organization, why it got started and everything. And for those that come on by phone, I will read you who is the Citizen Network of Protection. The Citizen Network of Protection is a 501c organization that is established to assist residents with filing complaints against police officers for misconduct. And our goal is include promoting racial and economic justice with the legal system, preventing government overreach and abuse in the area of law enforcement, and also it upholding civil rights within the community. We work to identify community stakeholders to align that activity and to work with the leadership of the community directly impacted by injustice in law enforcement. So tonight we have two of our board members that will be joining me. That is Austin Spiller and Neil Weingardner, which will take you through that information. Right now, we are waiting for updates. And one of the updates that we are waiting for is to hear from is on the police review commission. We've been asking for that for a long time, and they debated it at the city council and finally voted on it in October. And so we said, okay, you have it. Will you explain how this will operate? And they said, yeah. And so each month passed and no update, no nothing. We got to January and they put out the application for people to join the commission, and still nothing happened. In March, after we had our meeting, our community meeting on the 28th, Alderman Rainey was there, and she wanted to know where we been to the Citizen Police Review Commission. And so we had to tell her, no, that's not in place now. So she said, well, she would see about that, and here it is May, and we don't have it. So we're still looking, and I encourage you to go to the police website to look at for the application and how to be a member of that committee. So the second update we had, that was a big short stir in the community that upset a lot of the community people, and that was the error that the chief made in posting people's snapshots and everything. So we asked what was the policy within the police department about posting things and sending people pictures and stuff through the email and everything. He said that they did not have one, he thought, but he would check and get back to us. We still do not have that policy, so we're wondering, when will we get that policy, and kind of also the answer to the other five questions that we asked him. And those questions I think you've seen on our Facebook page. And so the main one we are concerned with is what is the policy that they have for transmitting individual photos through the internet and stuff and exposing them to be at liberty of being hacked or something or mistakenly sent someplace else. So that is one of the things that we are looking for and answers that we are seeking. And it's May, and we hope before the end of May we will get some answer. So we'll turn you over to Austin that will take you through the rest of the night, talking about the FOIAs and other information, and gets back to looking at the different things that we ask for in the community.
Great, thank you so much, Betty. Just real quick, let's see, Neil, if you could go back 2 slides to the FOIA request for regarding the Snapchat. Yeah, that one. So I just wanted to highlight this briefly. We did file a Freedom of Information Act request for information regarding the press conference and kind of try to get some more details about the quote unquote Snapchat incidents. One, I asked for a transcript. They said that they didn't provide one. I asked for like any notes or written statements, memos that Chief Cook might have used at the press conference that he read off of. They didn't provide one. I asked for any notes, written statements, documents that was used by interim city manager Erica Storley at the press conference, and they didn't provide any. I asked for audio and video recordings of the press conference, and they didn't provide any. I asked for emails between like Chief Cook and Commander Brian Henry, the interim city manager, and Commander Ryan Dlew. What I got back was a lot of emails kind of about the incident, but not necessarily between Chief Cook and these individuals. And we asked for this. We wanted to see how they handled this incident. What were they thinking? How were they going to respond to this in a transparent manner? Wanted to kind of understand how they were doing that, because like they didn't even announce this press conference to the public. For the most part, it was kind of a well-kept secret. And so, like I said, there's not any recordings or transcripts. And so there's really no way for people that might have missed it live to go back and view it. So I also just wanted to point out, just kind of how serious this breach of privacy is. There has been a lawsuit filed. The plaintiff is seeking $1 million in damages. So this could potentially be have quite a bit of a fiscal impact on the city. So that is also something to keep in mind. Another Freedom of Information Act request that was sent recently was about contact cards. And contact cards are, you'll see the picture of one here. This is a contact card from 2016. And it's going to include things about like the date of the stop, the beat, the time, gender, race, why this person was stopped. Like in this case, it was because of suspicious activity. And so that's kind of very vague. Whether a pat down or frisk was conducted, whether warnings or citations were issued and whatnot. So all of this information is very important so that we can start to recognize if there's any patterns of racial profiling or misconduct or people being frisked and searched without reasonable suspicion or probable cause. So that's why kind of digging into these contact cards are important. These contact cards are required to be filled out anytime there is an investigatory stop. In previous years, so like in 2017, this is from the city's website, between both adult and juveniles, there was 1,542 contact cards filled out. But what this highlights, so there is a data discrepancy with the number of contact cards that are provided on this link below. Whereas I'm going to go to the next slide, and this is the data on contact cards that is currently on the city's dashboard. So as you'll see here, in 2017, there was less than 200 contact cards, field contacts. And reminder, that's quite a discrepancy from the 1,542 contact cards that is on another city website. So that's one of the reasons why we want these contact cards. It's a way to audit the police department data and check for accuracy. And based, on what we've seen, not only in this example, but in other previous examples, between like data that they submit to the Illinois Department of Transportation and what's on their dashboard, there seems to be some inconsistencies. And so, police data is very important when it comes to like the budgeting process for accountability purposes, transparency, things like that. So if we don't have reliable, accurate data, it makes all of those tasks so much harder. The other thing I'd like to speak briefly about are the police powers that have been given to the public health officials in Evanston. And so, of course, during our COVID-19 kind of stay-at-home orders, one of the things that the city is concerned about are people in public that are not wearing masks and whatnot. So something that was kind of put in place recently, they gave police powers to Department of Health officials, where they have the power for people to be arrested for anyone that violates, the provisions of, the stay-at-home orders or social distancing requirements, things like that. And so this is concerning because, with such power comes the potential for abuse. If there is an incident where someone is arrested by a public health officials and there's, maybe some alleged misconduct, how does someone file a complaint? Who investigates that complaint? So it is an area of concern. We haven't seen people, being arrested up to this point, but who's to say that it couldn't happen? And so this is just an area CNP has identified for further discussion and analysis, and I think it definitely warrants more community discussion. The other thing, just real quick, I have, CNP, we are concerned about how social distancing and like mask requirements are enforced. We are concerned anytime that arrests are made and fines are issued. And so we kind of have we've seen in other cities how this has a disparate impact on communities of color, poor people, and we don't want to see the same thing happen in Evanston. So currently there's, if someone is violating, current orders, they can have $100 fine. And we even think that's problematic. We think the first thing that police officers or public health officials should be doing is educating people. The public health officials are trusted, credible messengers to relay, information to people. Ideally, police officers carrying guns, tasers, and handcuffs should not be the first line of defense. Instead of arresting people or issuing citations, police officers or health officials, they should be providing PPE and other resources to everyone who needs them. Third, we don't want to see any fines, fees, or monetary sanctions for people that violate these COVID-19 emergency orders. There can be cases where, people are already struggling to make ends meet. They've lost their jobs. So even a $100 fine can be very problematic. If they don't pay that fine, then they get late fees, penalties, and interest added. And those people can be saddled with debt. We also don't want to see, for failure to pay, we don't want to see warrants issued. So it could potentially lead people down a problematic path. And then finally, the last thing is we don't want to see people arrested. We know that jails can be hotbeds for COVID infection and spread. So like I said, it's that we hope to see that's not something that happens here in Evanston. So I'm going to turn the presentation over to Neil, and he's going to provide us with some further updates.
All right, this is where we could use your help. This is how you can help shape policing at Evanston. First thing we want to do is we want to create an anonymous tip line. The main reason why we want to do this is right now, all the oversight that we're doing on the police is based on data the police is collecting. I think you can see why that would be a problem. So what we want to do is create an anonymous tip line where people can call in and just tell us what they're seeing, how their engagements with the police are going. We know in a lot of cases, especially myself when I was younger, when you'd have an engagement with the police, if you quote unquote got away, you would get away and you wouldn't complain even if you felt like your rights were being compromised, because you felt like you dodged the bullet there and might as well not make any more noise. And while, you know, that can be how it is, we want to encourage people to call us and still tell us about these incidences they're feeling, even if they're anonymous, because we want to collect this data. We want to track how the police is engaging with our community. And if we start to see trends, this is data now that we can then bring to the police department and be like, hey, look, this is what we're seeing happen. This is not what we're seeing reported by the department. How can we come to a happy medium here? How can we investigate and research and figure out better ways that your officers can police Evanston? So that's kind of one of the first things we want to do, is creating this anonymous tip line. This is where you can come in. Is we need people who can help get out the word once the tip line has been created. We need people that can, or volunteers that would be able to listen and record these calls and add them to our database. And so if you're interested in this, please contact us either through social media or email us, or send me a message while Zoom is going on right now. And, you know, and I'll connect you and we can move forward with this concept. Next thing we want to do is fundraise. Money, money, money. All right, so here's the deal. We are a non-for-profit. Every single dollar that's been invested in this has been invested by board members. While we love this and we believe in this mission, we need help. And we need help because we want to get an office. We want to have a secure place for lawyers to work out of. We want a secure place for victims to come and tell us about their incidents so we can help them file reports. We need money to hold events to better inform the community. As you know, the police board hasn't launched yet, and we kind of want that to launch, and we want people to know that it exists, and we want people to know about the process, and we need capital so we can rent spaces and hold these meetings and create videos and graphics and all that kind of stuff to explain this to everyone, because the city is not holding up their part of the bargain, unfortunately. Next thing. Now, we understand that there's ongoing litigation regarding the Snapchat incident, social media incident that our police chief was involved in. So we don't expect him to get all of our answers, but what we do expect from him is to at least respond to us and to say, I got your message. I'm going to respond to you. I have a couple of things ahead of me in line. You know, like this whole pandemic thing, which we understand, we do. But we still feel that since we are the oversight group, unfortunately, in Evanston, and we have questions, we deserve to have answers because we have an audience that is encouraging us to get these answers. We're not just being annoying for the fact of being annoying, as surprising as that sounds. So we want you to, before the next meeting, and we will post this on our social media. It will be posted on our website. If you sign up for our emails, you'll also get it there. We're going to give a link to public comment at the next city council meeting. And we want you to bring this up. Like, why hasn't the police chief at least given the dignity to respond to the CNP and say, I'll get back to you when I can? That's all we're asking. It's not that crazy. Now, regarding that, we also have another call to action, which is about this review board. Like it was mentioned by Austin, like it was mentioned by Betty, it hasn't launched yet. And it hasn't launched yet because there are open seats And mainly, we want people to tell the city that you need to fill these seats. You need to get this going. This was the promise you made to us last year, and you need to hold your promise. We need oversight. I mean, it's just a given. We need oversight for our police department. And by holding these seats open and not allowing this board to progress, citizens aren't getting what they bargained for, what our elected officials promise us. So we want you to reach out to the city council. We want you to email your aldermen and say, what's going on with this? Give us updates. Tell the whole public, not just me. And regarding that, if you do believe in police oversight, while we don't necessarily think the current oversight that was passed is the perfect response, we think it's better than anything. So we want you to, if you think you're up for the task, apply for a seat. There's 4 or 5 seats available right now. And the sooner we can get those seats filled, the sooner these complaints can be heard and dealt with in a proper action. And that's important. Now, like I mentioned, we don't think the oversight that was passed is the best way to do it. We have our own way. We've written a proposal. We've been shopping it around. We've been talking to organizations all across this nation about this. And what we want is some people to raise their hands from this meeting, contact us on social media, sign up for our emails, reach out to us, and help us create a street team where we can talk about our vision for police oversight, for a committee that can help look over the city and make sure things are being done correctly. There are things that our little board offers that we think are much more important, like the ability to hire and fire, the ability to launch investigations without a complaint. These are very important things that are missing from the current oversight board. And we want to create a street team to help get out the word and say that there's a better answer than what the city brought to the table and that it should be heard. And I think once people hear about the differences between what we're offering or what we're suggesting and what's being currently offered, or what's supposed to be currently offered, I think people go, this is the better way to do things. The CNP has the right answer. So we want to create a street team, and we'd really like your support on that. Reach out to me through email, hit us up on social media, throw a rock through my window. Let us know that you want to join and want to help out, because these 4 little call to actions can really help shape policing in Evanston and really help create a better future for all of us.
Okay, thanks Neil and Austin for that update and the information. We also have our board member Carlos here. And Carlos, I know I'm putting you on the spot, but you up to the task. Would you like to share anything with our community?
Yeah, 2 things. Recently, we were informed that glue has been replaced, and we need to know the name of the officer who's now responsible for contacting and getting information out to the public. And secondly, as I explained, Betty, we have been trying very patiently over all these years to work with the city, but we've been met with a large sense of marginalization, and at this time, it's generally got to the point where they can no longer refuse to answer a simple citizen request. And I would appreciate if we could get more people in the community involved, that what we're doing benefits everyone in this community. And I appreciate the work that Austin and Neil have done, and especially Betty, but we still have a long way to go.
Thank you. I want to thank everyone that joined in, and want to welcome you and point you to our website to follow us on social media and to sign up for our newsletter and to be in touch with us. Also want you to know, which we haven't had do a lot of publicizing it and everything, but we've been working with, which was our first collaboration with other organizations, and that event is going to happen this Saturday at 1 o'clock on Zoom. And as you see, the flyer here is on sexual assault in our school. That has come in, that came to the community attention, but it came in a way that not to say this is what we are doing, this is how we are handling it. If we are missing someone or we are missing something or does not have something in place in the community, then we need to be putting this in place. That wasn't the message that we got. And so we're not in a society that things has to be kept quiet. We're in a community that we support with our tax dollars, and we have people that we pay to help get this information to us when it need to be. So I encourage you to sign up for the meeting on May the 23rd at 1 o'clock, and also to come back to us in June the 16th for our next community meeting. And don't forget the actions that Neil asks, is asking for. We do need volunteers. One of the volunteers and stuff we would need is for our hotline. And we do think that is something that we need. And that way we can get information from individuals that do not want to say anything out loud or in public about the police because of harassment or something, but we want to create a spot that you can go to that is safe and for you to tell what happened to you. The other thing is the fundraiser, which would give us to help raise money for our officer, our staff person, and our staff attorneys, so we can have those there to work for with the people that are most vulnerable in our community and the people in our community that do not have the funds all the time to pay that they would need simply to have to go to court. My landlord is going to evict me. These are things, if we had we having this service, and if we have our attorneys on hand, that would be something that we would be able to give to the people in the community. So, are we able to? I'm not sure how this Zoom works. This is new to me. So, are we able to hear any of the people that came on that was to ask the question, or
If you want
what?
to raise a hand, I can activate you. Otherwise, you can reach us on social media, send us a message, email, all that fun ways, and us as a team will get back to you.
So, I can't see if anybody raised their hand. Nobody raised their hand?
One
Oh,
second. Well, one coming in right now.
okay.
Hi,
Shy?
Betty. Yes, indeed. How's everybody doing?
Good, thank you.
Great. Good, great information. We appreciate this. Betty, I'm working with Kenneth Westbrook at A Work of Faith Ministries and Black Incorporated. We're one of the collaborators for your Saturday event. So just looking forward
Yes,
to.
you are.
And I'm gonna touch base. I want to touch base with you to get more information to see what you need or what information you need and how you want to collaborate. What you're looking for from us. I'm also interested in that possibly the hotline as well. Volunteer.
Fantastic. Great.
So I'll look for that. So thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Yeah, we will you can call us and we can do things by phone or Zoom, since right now we will play the 6 feet social distance. We don't have a space that we could sit in and people sit in 6 feet around a table or so. So give us a call and we can sit down and talk about the hotline. And I am glad that you said that you would help us and everything. And with that, maybe because the other thing that y'all had offered to us was to help in the leadership, our leadership program and things that you are working to train community people how to be leadership. That would be a good source and for us to have people come from when we activate the Evanston Board Civilian Police Review Board. Because will be have to have community people to be on the board for that. So your program will help develop those board members, and thank you for that. Is there anyone else?
Hey, Neil, it's Karen Courtwright, and I
Yes.
unmuted myself because I'm not using video, so I can't raise my hand.
Ah, okay.
I was wanting to chat with Austin about the discrepancy in that data on the dashboard. And
Yes.
Austin, have you done anything to ask for the data to be rectified? And if not, do you want to talk about it offline?
Thank you, Karen, for the question. Yeah, let's talk about it offline. So, like I briefly mentioned, I submitted a open records request to get the actual physical contact cards that they fill out. Instead of giving me the physical contact cards, they just directed me to their dashboard. Um, and and of course, like the dashboard, it doesn't provide all the information that is on the contact card. You know, whether a search was performed, whether contraband was found, you know, things like that. So I have not followed up yet. Well, actually, I take that back. I did follow up, I believe on the 5th, May 5th. So it has been a couple weeks now. They haven't responded. Right now, there seems like they're kind of just acting like it's a closed open records request.
Well, let's talk.
Yeah, let's talk.
I think it's a low probability they'd hand over the cards, but there's a better probability that we can request and are entitled to all the data from the cards. And they might do that for reasons of, you know, confidentiality of the citizen and so on. So let's talk. I'll email you and we'll set up a call.
That sounds great, Karen. Thank you.
Okay, Karen, one of the things, this is not the first time that we have brought to the police department that their information is incorrect on the dashboard. We brought it to their attention in 2018, and they did admit that it was wrong, and so that they said, well, they was going to fix it and everything. And when we brought it to their attention this year, they said, oh, they thought that they had fixed the glitch. So the police department know about it. They know that they're not putting in the information correctly and all of it.
Yeah,
That
I've had the
information there.
same experience when I've asked for data, Betty. So yeah,
Right.
I think we
But
just have to continue to.
But when we ask for that, they will give us a copy of the cards and things. On the contact cards, there is no name on that card. There shouldn't be. So
Okay.
they can make copies of the actual card and give that to us. It's just the officer's badge number, the date, and why they stopped them and stuff.
Yep.
So there's nothing privacy that they have to worry about.
Neil, are there any other questions at the moment?
That looks to be it. Again, if you any questions come up, feel free to email us. We'll get back to you as soon as possible. And follow us on social media and subscribe to our newsletter. We always are sending out little videos, things that we're clipping from City Council. I know a lot of you all don't have hours to spend on that, so it's always good to get a little clip here and there. And yeah, thank you for your time.
Thank you, everyone,
Thank
for
you.
joining.
All right, have a good night, everyone.
Good night.